Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369, and this is my follow-up video to my gold Armour hammock review. And basically, I had taken that out a couple times, slept in it, three nights total now, sleeping in that hammock, and I just wanted to follow up and give you guys my impressions now that I've gotten some use out of it. So, first off, carrying it, I carry a Osprey Atmos 65-liter pack, and the hammock is stored in the main pouch for me. And then I have my tarp down here and the top and under quilt down in the sleeping bag compartment down here. If I was doing a tent, most likely would have the sleeping bag in here, a sleep mat rolled up here, and then I would have to fit the tent maybe along the side if I keep it in the original packaging or inside the pack. So I feel like this option probably takes up a little less room. But I'll do a more in-depth tent versus hammock video later. But main focus of this video is just the hammock portion of the sleep system. In the other video I gave you the weight and the dimensions of this. It takes very little room in my main compartment of my pack. Without modifications, which made it a little bit lighter weight, it is 4% of the total volume of my pack. For my backpacking trip that I took, my pack weighed 30 pounds with a spare set of pants, underwear, socks, and 3 days food. It weighed 30 pounds. That weight includes 3 liters of water. At that weight, this was 6% of the total weight of the pack. So 4% of the volume, 6% of the weight. In my initial review, I didn't feel like I got that great of sleep in it, according to my watch's data anyway. But the weird part was I was not tired the next morning, and I couldn't figure out why. After more use, I've come to the conclusion that I sleep better in this hammock than I do in my bed. And the watch data is wrong. So what I've determined is happening is, one, it seems that when I sleep in the hammock, I go from awake almost immediately into a deep sleep, very little light sleep, very little REM sleep. And the reason this makes me feel like I'm not getting enough sleep is because I don't realize that I'm sleeping. There's really nothing that lets me know that I'm sleeping. So for me, it just feels like I'm awake all night long consciously, because it's like that's the only part I realize. It's not the light sleep where you kind of have the awareness that you're sleeping, or the REM sleep where you're dreaming. So if that's not occurring, I don't realize that I've slept any. To me, it just feels like I'm laying there awake all night long, which is really weird. But on the other side of it, when I wake up in the morning or get up in the morning, because I'm not aware that I've ever been asleep, I'm not tired. Then the other thing I think that's throwing my watch off is if this rocks, then my watch thinks that I'm awake. And so if I kind of shift position and this rocks, I think my watch is reading that as I'm awake. And so that's skewing the data. But based on its use so far, I definitely feel very refreshed when I wake up in the morning compared to even sleeping in my own bed. I'm not normally a back sleeper, so that's a very kind of weird thing for me to get used to. I've had some difficulty with that. On the plus side, using a jacket or something for a pillow, I have found out that I can sleep on my side in this hammock. For that, you definitely want to do a diagonal lay, and you probably want to pitch your hammock a little bit flatter than the 30 recommended degrees. This does weigh on the heavy side, but I think what I'm getting for the weight with the tree straps and the carabiners is worth it. You should check out my modification video where I changed out the carabiners to lighten up that weight just a little bit. The other thing is, this is the double hammock. It's a little heavier weight than a single hammock, but I feel like for my height, it was great. Basically, if you're probably 5'9", 6 foot or taller, you're going to want a double hammock. And you're just going to have to accept the weight. I keep saying this hammock is heavy, but if you take off the straps, or take out the tree straps, take off the carabiners, and you compare it bare hammock to an ultralight bare hammock, really it turns out they're the same fabric material. At least looking at weight, they seem to be the same fabric material, and there's really no justification in spending all that extra money, maybe 3 to 4 times the cost of this, to get one of those. Very soft to lay in. I can't say enough good stuff about this hammock. I'm really happy that I purchased this one. And they also have very amazing range of colors. You can almost get anything that you could think of color-wise. So that's really all I have to say about it. Next video is planned for dealing with the hammock. Other than reviewing the different components, we're looking at modifications that I made to this, video covering ridge lines, basically how I'm using a ridge line versus structural. And at some point I'm really going to get down and do a hammock camping versus tent camping, where I'll look at weight and pack, setup time, convenience. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that I like to compare between the two. A preview on that, I would prefer hammock over tent, but I still like tent for if I have more than one person, or if I'm going somewhere where there's not really a place to hang a hammock. I'd rather sleep in a tent than go to ground in a hammock, although there's probably not much difference between the two in reality, especially with the setup I'm using. Hope you liked the review. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch that. Hopefully you've liked the follow-up video where I explained some of the stuff that I kind of got wrong in my review, especially with, I thought I wasn't getting good sleep in this, and it turned out I was getting excellent sleep. I was getting bad data and being misled by my own mind and brain and perception of stuff. Please hit the thumbs up, think about subscribing, and thanks for watching.